Our state tournament coverage resumes later today. The girls State A playing in Minot. You'll see all the games right here on Extra starting at 1 o'clock. Evening session begins at 6:30. The final game for our crew, they're hoping it's about 8:15, between Rugby and Thompson. Two old foes that have matched up many a time, and they know their way around the state basketball tournament. Certainly our next guest does. It's March. I got to visit with Jason Brend, the head coach of the Thompson girls. They play later tonight against Rugby in the final game of the day. It's great to see you, bud. It's March. We have our yearly visit. Tell me about this year's team and getting back to state.
Hey, good morning, Dom. Yeah, it's great to see you. Gotta love March basketball. You know, this team this year, I know a lot of people coming in said that we'd only graduated 2 kids off of last year's team, which we did. And, you know, one was a point guard, one was a post, which are pretty important positions. And, you know, with that, we did a little position shuffling this year. So in reality, we got 3-4 kids playing some different positions. So it took us a little time to gel this year. And, you know, things didn't maybe come quite as easy for us, I guess, this year as maybe the past couple of years. But, you know, we fought through it, and there's nothing wrong with being battle tested this time of year.
Describe that, Jason, of going through the early part, because you always play a tough schedule of figuring out your roster to then peak by the time February came around.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing. You know, we played South Prairie. I think it was our second game of the year, and you know, that's a situation where early on you want to go out there and kind of set a baseline for your team. You know, teams like that, they're so good, and they're so good at pointing out, you know, what your flaws are as a team. So it allows you to come back from Minot, which is where we played them, and you know, really focus on some things that we thought we needed to work on as a team. And you know, I think we did that. And as the season went on, you know, we played Devil's Lake a couple times, and really good Carrington team a couple times. And you know, just a lot of those foes that they do a lot of things. You know, the Devil's Lake games were really important for us because they're kind of in a way turned into a little bit of a rival for us now. And that style of basketball that they play, it's tough. They get the game sped up so fast that you know, the kids can pretty easily run in the red in their RPMs internally, and you know, just good learning experience during the course of the season.
You had to go through the state qualifier round. How nerve-wracking was that on Saturday to play Northern Cass, knowing this, either we win or it's over?
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit more of, you know, back when you had to win the region and move on, you know. And I think what made it a little more nerve-wracking is it was our 4th game that week. You know, and that's a lot of games for these kids. You know, you like here at the state tournament, you play 3 in consecutive days, and you know the kids are prepared for that. But you know, last week having played 4 games now, you know that makes a difference as well. But you know, our one loss was in what was it, the semifinals against Carrington, and they're tough. They're a good team, and you're going to see them in the state tournament here this weekend. And they got Lincoln and Athletic, and we've played them 3 times, and early on we split, and in tournaments they got us again, but. You know, I really think that in the regional tournament, then that 3rd place game that we had to win to get to that qualifier, we were on life support for a while. We really were in the second half. So, you know, something sparked the girls, and thankfully it did, because from that point forward in that qualifier, I thought they played a really nice game.
For viewers that haven't seen your team play, Addie Sage is one of the best players around. I had Addie on the show last summer when she was invited to the USA camp that go down and play in the South. Give us what makes her such a special player that stood out, and for viewers to watch her tonight?
Boy, you're right. She's a really great player. You know, Addie's one of those kids that kind of has ice in her veins and fire burning in her heart. You know, she does a lot of things well, and she's a kid. We'll put it this way. You know, a lot of kids like to go out in their driveways and shoot hoops. Addie sets up cones. She's doing drills. You know, even at home. So she loves it. She puts in the time. She's a great team player as well, and she seems to rise to the occasion in big games, and that's really important, I think, for any athlete at this level to show, you know, throughout the state.
We got a highlight reel of her from the game and not just her, from what you played on Saturday. When you have a player like that, how much do you put the weight on her back to say, okay, we're going to need you big time here to will us to get a win?
Yeah, you know, you do. With her and Kaya Hurst are both returning all-state players, and those two, they're good about shouldering it. They understand their role is kind of to take over those situations. And the nice thing about it is they're 2 very different types of players, and they really work well together out there. So, you know, we kind of talked to both of them a little bit about how, hey, here's what's going to happen. They're going to key on you. They're going to try to take you away. So we have to find a way to get you open. And in a lot of cases, what we like to do is have the girls set screens, get themselves open. And, so yeah, we did talk to both Addie and Kaya in that situation. And, I think they both responded really well that last Saturday in that qualifier.
I know Addie's had a couple of offers. What's her ceiling in your mind, Jason? What can we see of her at the next level, in your opinion?
Oh, it's a good question. Boy, I don't know. I know some of the offers that she has. I think even in town here in Minot right now, I think there's one.
Yep.
It's hard to say. She'll tell you that she still has things she needs to work on her game, quickness and strength and things like that. But as far as just the true actual basketball aspect of it, I think she could definitely go to a pretty high level. I know at one point UND was chatting with her a little bit. I guess I don't know how serious, and actually I don't know a whole lot about that. But that's why I stick to the basketball at the high school level. I don't know all those what they look for. The intangibles, I guess, are there. I know that.
I got to ask about being back in this event. You lost such a heartbreaker last year in the semis. That how much has that fueled this year's team?
Yeah, actually the past 2 years we really got a
Totally.
punch in the gut.
Totally.
It's tough. You always tell the kids, if you leave it all on the floor, good things are going to happen. And I really feel like we did both years. And to come away getting beaten some big games, it hurts. It really hurts. And, it's definitely a fuel. And we talk about how we need to use that fuel to stoke that fire inside and keep it burning. And you got to want it. And, yes, having the big game experience is important, but I think that motivation is something as well that hopefully we can really use to our advantage here this week.
You're playing the late game. You and I have talked about it. You've done this so often. You've played the first game. You've played the first night game. You've played the late game. Is it a thing, no thing, kind of a thing?
I don't know. I like playing at night. So I guess I would take the 8:15 game over an earlier one, I guess, if I had a choice. But we're happy to play anytime. They wanted us to play at 9 this morning. We would have been there, It's a little bit different in the late game here because, we get a shoot around on the dome floor, and the late game has their shoot around in between the two sessions.
Right.
So 4:30 instead of in the morning is a little bit different. But it does allow our team to do a few things here this morning that we wouldn't have gotten to do if we had an earlier shoot around.
With an experienced team, do you need to much worry about the big backdrop? They've been on the Minot State Dome before. Is that something for your younger players to, hey, get used to looking around? It's different than playing in the Thompson gym.
Yeah, for sure. That's something we talk about at the shoot around, and we even goof around a little bit and have the kids shoot some free throws and send some maybe of our younger girls behind the basket jumping and screaming, and because it happens. That's where student sections are, and that's where they're having fun themselves. So it makes a difference. Look around. We have been there, but it is definitely a different shooting backdrop than we've seen all season long. And our opponent, rugby, they've just played the regional tournament there. So, will that be an advantage to them or not? I don't know, but it's a different shooting gym, so maybe it'll play into a little bit early on.
Last thing before I let you go, Jen Brossart well. I mean, Rugby and Thompson are all Class B veterans of making the state tournament. What is a hallmark of their team that you're going to see tonight that may be an issue for you? I think we lost Coach Brad. I'm not hearing you, bud. We had you. Great to see you, man. Good luck tonight. Thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it. Jason Brend joining us, Thompson girls basketball head coach. So it's Thompson and Rugby coming up in the final game of the night. That's at 8:15. Again, the Class A tournament. You'll see all games here today live on WDAY Extra. We're due for a break. We come back. NSIC MVP, Dragon freshman standout Carson Johnson on leading the Dragons back to the Division II tournament. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns right after this.